So when we are talking Adivasi, it's a very, very big loaded word, term, and that is, it's alive. He would live that life, and he pushed me to also learn how to live like an Adivasi. He would always want the children to live like an Adivasi. There are many arguments which we had, and he would tell me that ki Adivasi ka bachcha hai, Adivasi hi rehne do. Big. And I did not know what does that mean. I'm still learning what does that mean. But yes, I have my journey of my life, and I will learn in that process, and I will learn that with the community with which he has given to me. I mean, he has attached me with the community, so my community will teach me how to live like that. I was going through his thesis, very sacred, not only to me but to everybody, I think, and I did not know from where to begin. Because had he been here, he would speak, extempore. He would just speak as though he knew every part of it. He would speak, and I am still struggling to think from where to begin. And I think there are bits and pieces here, there. From I could only collect chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 6, and chapter 7, his conclusion. And I don't know whether reading that would make some sense. I don't want to give my interpretation in what Abhay wrote. Because when Abhay wrote, he wrote with some depth. When I will try to interpret what Abhay wrote, will probably add a little bit of my color to that, and I don't think so. I would want to do that today. I will someday later, when I will also be able to understand all that he wrote and all that he wanted to write more, that I will probably add. But I think I'll just add, and I'll read this, if this is. Adivasi history is essentially a history of deceit, distrust and dispossession. This is 2018 when he wrote this. But when he started this entire journey of being Abhay Xaxa, probably at that time he really had a little bit of more vigor, he had a little bit of more trust. He believed that yes, we could make changes. But then he writes this in 2018, and I was trying to contextualize, I'm still trying to contextualize the time when he wrote some lines, and that will make a lot of sense. It gives me a background of why did he write what he wrote at that point of time. So this is 2018 when he is about to submit his thesis, and this is his conclusion chapter. A history of deceit, distrust and dispossession, which have played a vital role in framing their worldview, demarcating boundaries between themselves and others, and articulating resistance in both violent and non-violent forms. We disagreed on this point many times, in violent and non-violent forms, and probably I still respect that disagreement, that we agreed to keep violent and non-violent forms of resistance. During the pre-colonial period, the dominant society was in direct conflict with Adivasi communities over the issues of territorial sovereignty and control over resources, which gradually turned into mutual agreement of non-interference. 1920 से पहले आदिवासी की जो लड़ाई हुआ करती थी, and after 1920 when Gandhi entered into the fora of being the leaderan, it changed a lot of things. That was also part of my thesis, that I could actually read and find out exactly what was the difference. The Adivasis were fighting something else, and 1920, post 1920 it was showed as we are fighting the British. Sumit Sarkar, anybody reading him, will give us a lot of picture of what was there, the difference between the two worlds, pre-1920, post-1920. We will get a picture there. But advent of colonial rule brought forth the nexus of feudal lord, moneylender, industry and state lending, leading to loss of control over forest and cultivable land, culture and identity. We always keep on telling Jal, Jangal, Jameen. Ji, haan, Jal, Jangal, Jameen. And there is another word which probably Abhay was pushing, Dharti. How English we will interpret Dharti as earth, world, universe. And when we put it as only Dharti, we take everything in Dharti. So Jal, Jangal, Jameen and Dharti means everything to an Adivasi. हमारे लिए ये सब चीज़ बहुत मायने रखता है. हमको किसी को कोई समझाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है कि जल हमारे लिए क्या करती है, जंगल हमारा क्या है, ज़मीन हमारे लिए क्या करती है और ये धरती क्या है ना. बैठेंगे, बात करेंगे, एक समझ डेवलप करना है, यस करेंगे. बट अगर हम लोग ये ना एक ही बात करने के लिए बात नहीं करना होता है, बात को सिंक करने के लिए करना होता है. एंड दैट इज प्रोबेबली व्हाट आई वुड वांट टू. लैंड एंड फॉरेस्ट became important cultural symbols around which people were mobilized to participate in the rebellion against the exploiting classes. I go back again, 1920, pre-post. These incidents triggered twin processes which further played a defining role in the problematic relationship between the Adivasis and the state dominant society. Production of knowledge about Adivasis as noble savages living a subsistence life in primitive places, intentionally or unintentionally, played into the dominant ideology of the colonial rulers, hence depoliticizing their identities and legitimizing their occupation. Anthropology के स्टूडेंट्स समझेंगे इस बात को कि हम लोग सबसिस्टेंस इकोनॉमी में बात करते हैं. और अभय अगर होते तो he would probably give us one thesis on only subsistence economy. What does subsistence economy mean to an Adivasi? We don't like to live a subsistence life. कोई आदिवासी नहीं चाहेगा. Then why eulogize is one question that we will have to think. We live the life the way we want to live. But then that is interpreted as subsistence economy. Subsistence economy. बहुत भारी भरकम word है. Once the idea of tribe, straight away borrowed from Africa and Americas, was superimposed on Adivasis' dominance through patronage was established. This followed with various protectionary policies aimed to pacify the growing discontent among Adivasis. You see, we Adivasis cannot even say that कि मुझे नहीं खाना या मुझे नहीं बैठना है, and this will always be read as discontent. Adivasi dominant regions excluded from other areas in terms of governance. There were prohibition of transferring Adivasi land to non-Adivasis. I'm actually reading his paper, and I don't want to read mine in this. It will be, we are two different worlds, two very, very different worlds, not world apart, but I respect the way he wrote this paper. Every word, after every word, is making so much sense. And when I put my interpretation in this or my words into this, it becomes totally something very, very different. These special treatments to Adivasi people and areas they inhabited had their own benefits and drawbacks. On the positive side, provisions related to land gave a fixed territorial identity and acknowledged customary rights to a certain extent. But at the same time, they lost much of the dynamism associated with their identity, somewhat forced to live with the stereotypical notions of a tribesman. So, tribe bole to, that immediate picture will come, something around here, and then we will do something. But it is our language. आपको नहीं समझ में आया, ये आपका प्रॉब्लम नहीं. आपको नहीं समझ में आया तो आप बोलिए आपको नहीं समझ में आया, तो हम कोशिश करेंगे आपको थोड़ा सा टूटा फूटा हिंदी में समझाने के लिए. मगर द वेरी ब्लैंकेट थिंग इज कि इधर एक कपड़ा, इधर एक कपड़ा और समथिंग. I would not want to add because they add it. No? This is not our language. We will say ikase. Ikase Radin, Arun. You will not understand that. But then that does not mean that ikase Radin is not thing. It is. Arun understood what I went to say. And so we have got 760 Adivasi communities listed. We all have our language. So if we wear this many little clothes here and little clothes here, we are also telling something in that. You don't want to understand, you want to say, "Arey yaar, garib." That is your interpretation, that's your understanding. An effort is being made in such discourses and discussions to bring people together, different people together, to understand each other. You and me and all of us. That is the effort. No? That has been the effort of all of us living together in a very civilized society. We are different community members out here, and there is an effort being made so that we understand each other with respect. I understand you, you understand me. There is one word, with respect, and that is probably we Adivasis would always want to. I have become so much Adivasi that I forget at times who I am. Yeah. I'll skip. The country has witnessed a plethora of movements against forced displacement, especially of Adivasis, which are either articulated in terms of environmental justice or claims to indignity. जल, जंगल और ज़मीन पर हक हमारा है, ये शायद हमारा नारा भी है. जल, जंगल और ज़मीन पर हक हमारा है. We are the rightful owners of water, forest and land. A slogan popularized during the Jharkhand movement became a strong cultural symbol around which anti-displacement movements have come up in contemporary times. While analyzing the context in which this powerful symbol is used, it becomes evident that intentionally or unintentionally, such mobilizations achieve three important targets: constructing a strong Adivasi identity based on the claims of indignity by invoking the images of harmonious past. Such cultural symbols are used as an effective weapon of resistance against the powerful multinational corporations and oppressive state, building alliances and networking with international NGOs. While the anti-displacement slogan of Jal, Jangal, Jameen has gradually become a powerful symbol of Adivasi mobilization, it has been exclusionary in nature. While it does help, this is not my words, this is actually what Abhay has written. While it does help in constructing strong Adivasi identity, it has not been able to reflect the aspirations and needs of millions of Adivasis who have already lost their land and forest or are forced to migrate and work as landless laborers in urban centers, factories, tea plantations or other sectors. We had our land. We had our land which was around a forest. Abhay's house is 21 kilometers from Kunkuri Tehsil. The first time that I had gone there, I was a hardcore romantic and I was like, my God, forest. अल्लाह इतना खूबसूरत तो हमने ज़िंदगी में नहीं देखा, इतना खूबसूरत, है ना, hardcore romantic. आज भी that romanticism will remain. But when I went back to my field work and I asked the person with whom I was living, and I asked her, बोलो तो कमला, जंगल क्या खूबसूरत नहीं? And you know, she looked at me and she says, आप लोग दिल्ली वाले ना ऐसे ही सोचते हैं ना दीदी, जंगल में क्या रोमांस है, क्या खूबसूरत है? हमको 18 किलोमीटर चल के आना पड़ता है इस रास्ते से मेन रोड तक, इसमें क्या खूबसूरत है? सो हाउ हम लोग अर्बन सी फॉरेस्ट, पेड़ पौधा जंगल, and how the people in the forest see the forest is totally different thing. My friend was asking philosophy of Adivasi, I don't know where is he. This is what it is. The way we will see the jungle and the way the Adivasis will see the jungle is totally different. No romance in that, please, because we have to live there. I will go to a jungle and spend a week there and come back and say, stress buster. But then the Adivasis, क्या stress buster कुछ नहीं होता ना, हमको वहीं पे रहना होता है. So we make that a part of our life. That is jungle, that is jameen, that is jal for me. Jal is very expensive. जिसके पास जल ना है वहाँ पे नदी कहीं एक कोस दूर में है, और हमारे यहाँ पे जमीन है, बट हम खेती नहीं कर पा रहे ना. हम खेती बारिश होएगा तभी हम करेंगे. No romance, please. So probably we will have to let go of all those romances, that what jungle and what jal means to us. Articulation of Adivasi identity around their relationship with natural resources has become more important for middle class activists or city-based Adivasis, whereas the concerns of actual Adivasi sufferers goes unnoticed. Abhay has written this. An Adivasi himself lived there, came up to JNU, studied, and he used to go and come, and he could find there is something that is missing, and he was trying to establish that connect. Various right-wing organizations have used this type of Adivasi mobilization for their own purposes. Gujarat, Odisha, Chhattisgarh. I would conclude in his words. I would like to say that articulation of Adivasi identity on lines of Jal, Jangal, Jameen might be like a double-edged sword which needs to be used with caution and care, even if this is the only tried and tested toil of resistance. For Adivasis against displacement, activists and movements need to reflect on their role in this whole issue and include the aspirations and demands of Adivasis who are at the bottom of the hierarchical ladder. I think every time that something on Adivasis come up, I always feel at loss of some explanation which probably Abhay would have given to us. It's been almost 4 years that he's not around. No romance here again, huh? But what is something is missing in this entire discourse in understanding, because he was there 43 years in his life in the field. His understanding of certain things we miss it terribly, not in the sense of missing him as a person, but missing his ideas, the knowledge that he had gained during his term that he was there in the field, when he was working very closely with the Adivasi communities, say be it Odisha, be it Chhattisgarh, be it Jharkhand, be it Bengal. I think he picked up that fine nuances, and maybe had he had some more times, he would have listed it down, state specific, Jharkhand this way, Chhattisgarh this way, Bengal this way. He was a very selfish person also. He never shared what he had. Had he shared, हम लोग लिख लेते ना, रहते तो हम लोग लिख लेते जल्दी जल्दी करके, फिर हम लोग एक दूसरे से बांटते कि भैया ये भी है, पढ़ लो थोड़ा सा, हम लोग भी पढ़ लेंगे ना. He did not write that, and I feel that that is something that another spade work has to be done. Somebody has to go back to the field again. कौन जाएगा? And I think every time that we would have our लिटरली ग्लव्स पहन के हम लोग अखाड़े पे होते थे. हम लोग का अखाड़ा वो बॉक्सिंग रिंग वाला, उसका ग्लव्स, मेरा ग्लव्स, एंड बीच में 2 बच्चा अपना छोटा छोटा ग्लव्स लेके खड़ा रहता था कि अब कहाँ से मारेंगे, इधर से मारेंगे कि इधर से मारेंगे, है ना, मारना पड़ता था. एंड in that entire process of not being able to document those knowledge that he had gained is something that we will have to have our young Adivasi scholars here, our friends who are also non-Adivasis, who want to understand. We urge that please go back to the field and get us something more important. I have lost my age. I am almost crossing my century, half century this side, so I will not be able to do much. But yes, I will want to run again further. Thank you very much for listening to me.